Hi everyone. This portion of the tutorial series I will teach you required for the Docker Compose. Okay. So why Docker Compose is required? When you are in the first day in any project, then you need to know which type of software need to run this application. Then you communicate with IT person, they can install your required software. Some software needed some policy guideline, some other things. But if your application has any option, the all type of required software is present there, you can run this file and all this required container installed by default in your system. That is very helpful for you. That is called the Docker Compose. Okay, so here our requirement is in our application is fully depend on SQL Server and Redis. And after we known how to create the Docker file, then we also include our own image in the Docker Compose file. But now I am adding SQL Server in Redis in the Docker Compose file. Okay, and each container is called service in Docker Compose. So we need two service, one for SQL service and another is Redis service. Okay, so I am coming to my application. So my application need to open Visual Studio 2022 preview version. So it's our Docker tutorial. Okay, so our application is open now. Now I need to add the Docker support. In your main application, my main application is API application. Right click and click add. Now, yes, the Docker support. Okay. So if I click this and click OK, so Docker file also created in. If I go to the solution folder, Docker tutorial, so this file is not present. Okay, so I click add again, click add container. Okay, sorry, so my mistake. So I remove all the file which is generated default. So first of all I discard changes, launch setting also discard, and docker ignore file, these to be removed. Okay, so I'm coming in previous stage, so not any changes already done. So you need to click this project, click add. Now you need to click container orchestra support. Okay, so it's showing you is Docker Compose. If I click, and which OS we always try to create using the Linux. Okay, so if I click this, you see in your solution folder, another project is created. It's called is Docker Compose. If I go to the project, it's my project, and you see some Docker ignore, Docker Compose YML, Docker Compose overwrite YML. This type of file created by Visual Studio. Okay, so our main job is update this Docker Compose file. Okay, so yeah, when you are change something in the Docker Compose file, best use case is use the VS Code and Docker, and inside the VS Code, open this file Docker Compose YML, and I remove everything from Docker Compose file, and best scenario, install the extension for Docker in your machine. So you see my Docker is already installed. If your machine Docker is not installed, then need to install this extension. Okay, so this extension help you to support the Docker keyword in your any type of Docker file. Okay, So now I open my notepad and these two file. Okay, so step by step I open this for my, okay. So now I create the Docker Compose file. So in our application, Redis I created only for teaching you. It's not our required properties. I remove from the showing view. So these two is needed. One is for Redis and one is for SQL Server. How we create these two files? Okay. So each I told previously each container is a service. So first of all, I write it service. Inside the service, I uh, I create that is the my SQL server. So I name this SQL server or some readable name DB. Okay, so I name this DB. Inside the DB, I need a image. So where is the image come from? Image come from this uh, Docker Hub. So I add this image. Then we need to add the port. So port double quotation. Our port is it's open 1499 and the inside container is port is 1433. Now need two environment variable. These two are the environment variable. Okay. So environment, environment. So environment is a key value pair. So I again click the double quotation and also I need another environment variable. So I copy this and paste this and also copy this and paste this. Okay. So my DB service is successfully writing. Writing is complete. Now I am adding another service. Its name is Redis. Redis image. What is the image name? Image name is Redis. And then again need a port in double quotation and the port is 6379. Okay. So this completed. Now if I go to my project location and open the terminal, if I click Docker compose, if you also include the file name, my file name is docker compose dockercompose.yml docker compose.yml file, then you need to write up. Okay, so you see the network is created, a container, two container also created, and it's also coming in the not is detach mode, it is open in the attach mode. Okay, so I am also opening another terminal. If I click docker ps, then you see the mainly two is created, one for Redis and one for SQL Server, and another also created. I remove this Docker, Docker rm -f, copy this and paste it, clear again, and with the Docker ps. So now you see the Redis and SQL Server is container is started using my Docker Compose file, and you see there is a Docker Compose also uh, showing his log because I am opening in the attach mode. Now I am opening the application. If I click, you see now previously only one information is visible, that is HTTP project. Now you see the two different type of a Docker, and HTTP and Docker also present there. Before moving to Docker, I am clicking the HTTP again for checking purpose everything is working smoothly or not. So application in the trying to ready and open. It's taking enough time, so we wait. What is doing now? So I solved the issue. In the API folder, I removed some unnecessary file and also be in an object folder. Now, if I click the HTTP, see the application is run successfully, and also my Docker. If I check, my two container is running. Redis and SQL Server. If I click the post and try it out, A, B, C, D, E, F, 10, 20, anything, data is inserted. If I click the get button, try it out, execute. Okay, perfect. And now check the Redis part is working or not. Try it out. Suppose key equal to name and value push. If I execute, yeah, perfect. So this portion we learned how to set up my Docker Compose file, and both two container also running using the Docker Compose file. Okay, next portion I will teach you some other part in the Docker Compose.